Fight fam, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification. Class in session. Ryan Garcia versus Javier Fortuna. We're gonna skip past the introductions and break it down each fighter so we can get straight to the meat and potatoes with the X factor. From studying film, the most glaring aspect I see that will determine most of the action and exchanges depends on whether Ryan Garcia has made improvements in the open stance or not. His most glaring issue in the open stance is lead foot positioning. Ryan Garcia is an orthodox fighter while Javier Fortuna is a southpaw, which makes this an open stance match. In the open stance, fighters are a mirrored image of each other with the lead and back hands and feet aligned. With the lead foot aligned, stepping straight in would typically mean stepping right into or onto your opponent's lead foot, which limits the distance you can cover coming in to initiate offense. So typically, fighters will either step to the inside of the opponent's lead foot or the outside. Stepping to the inside aligns the jab with the opponent's center line where the head sits, but at the same time, the step inside roughly aligns the opponent's backhand with your center line. Vice versa with the step outside. Stepping to the outside aligns your backhand with the opponent's center line. Either the inside or outside step can be done relatively safely, but most fighters and trainers preach the outside step typically because the angles on the weak side and outside step can create for offense or defense, and the risk of the more powerful backhand of your opponent being aligned if you step inside. Defensively, outside foot positioning means you can pivot out towards the weak side, where the inside foot position clearly leaves the opponent's foot as an obstacle in the way of the pivot out towards the weak side and leaves pivoting in hypothetically towards an opponent's power your only option. So Garcia's main issue in the open stance is that not only does he take inside steps to close distance, he also steps entirely too far inside, a critically vulnerable moment. Garcia turns out to be a textbook example of alignment with inside or outside steps to close distance in the open stance.
Garcia make quick work of Luke Campbell. Are we in for a long distance? The jab is the key throw. The stage before, he knows how to handle the pressure. The bright lights, the international audience thinking. Garcia has to be careful not to get over eager.
There also is translator. Ryan doesn't speak much Spanish, and he
work better against southpaw.
Get out there, knockdown, and now he won.
for Ryan Garcia.
On top of that, even when Garcia steps to a neutral position, which is straightforward either on his opponent's foot or just before it, sometimes he tends to lunge when he throws the back hand, throwing himself off balance with the back foot in the air. Another vulnerable moment where Ryan has forward momentum and is stuck on the front foot until the back foot comes down. Garcia's momentum from that backhand punch often carries that back foot to a complete shift in stance or to a square position where yet again his center line is exposed. Last but not least, Garcia has a bad habit of dropping his backhand to catch, block, or parry southpaw opponents' backhand body punches. Luke Campbell showed him a pattern of attacking the body with a hook and cross, as Garcia was either staying stationary or countering Garcia as he was closing distance to attack with that inside step. So Garcia started dropping his backhand to block the body shots. That was the trigger for Campbell to feint the body shot and start turning it into a backhand hook to the head, which hurt Garcia and knocked him down in round 2. All isn't lost on Ryan Garcia. At least for the fundamentals of foot positioning in the open stance, he has shown that he can take the outside step and attack properly. With all that said, this video is one-sided for 2 reasons. The first is because of the common flaws I wanted to display that come with open stance or southpaw versus orthodox fights. The second reason is because Garcia is heavily favored by odds makers to win the fight. I expect Garcia to beat the past prime 33-year-old Fortuna as well, but if Garcia hasn't improved his open stance weaknesses, then he can make it a long night for himself and possibly get stopped by Fortuna, who has decent power and not as many holes as he's used to fighting open stance matches being a southpaw. But despite his familiarity, Garcia is an explosive puncher that can take advantage of one single lapse in defensive responsibility with that powerful left hook and make it a short night. We will see how it plays out. But I might be willing to take a flyer with Fortuna and throw a small wager at the 9-1 odds BETUS is currently posting. If those same flaws from Garcia show up in the fight versus Fortuna, 9-1 is far too wide. If you want some smoke either way, Sportsbook link in the description. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Peace.